what you said, Rich. Oh, buddy.
Negative, K, nothing further, just Kitty Corby in the corner. That's a direct order. Do it now.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We are Roll Call, Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations. Today is Thursday, July 23rd. I'm here with a few of my friends. I have D. Schoon, AC, Will Quick, Derek, Rich, Ty, Jamel, Jerry, Dave, Mark, and Jim. Almost a full house. Good to see each and every one of you here. But before we get started, we're going to have a moment of silence. I'm going to ask Jamel to do our disclaimer, and I'm going to ask Rich to do our statement of purpose. All right, Jamel.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad that you're with us. Okay, this is Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations, otherwise known as Roll Call. The comments and express concerns made by members of the Roll Call, Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations are panel are the opinions of the individual and not offered or intended to be legal advice, recommendations, or suggestions for listeners and/or observers. This panel may display graphic videos or photographs that are integral to or spark discussion. These videos or photographs are not intended to offend any viewer or listener. A panel member will give notice to the audience as to its nature prior to displaying any graphic or sensitive video or photograph. Any graphic content displayed during the panel discussion has been obtained and shared from public social media platforms and is not the property of Roll Call. The language used by members of Roll Call and guests is spontaneous, it is uncensored, and not intended to offend the audience.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jamel. Rich?
Yes, good afternoon. Once again, we're Roll Call Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations. We are a pro-law enforcement group. We're for equitable policing. We're against racism, and Black and Brown Lives Matter. We come to you each week in an attempt to bridge the gap between law enforcement and your community. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much for that, Rich. Let me just say this. We're still praying for Deirdre Williams and Derek. Derek's wife, Deirdre. JT and his wife, Orlando. During the storm, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but during the storm, two big branches fell in front of JT's home, just missing the house. So we're
Wow.
thankful for that, and that he and his wife is okay. We're still praying for Cheech and Anna. We're still praying for Isabel Jordan. I don't know her prognosis at this time, but prayer doesn't hurt. That's all I gotta say. Prayer does not hurt. And we're praying for Isabel Jordan. We're still praying for Monique. I understand she's getting better, but we're still praying for Monique. That's Mark's sister-in-law. We're praying for Dave's youngest son, Marcel Kennard, and we're praying for Dave. All right, so we're praying for Dave and Marcel. We're praying for my brother Tim, and we're saying happy belated birthday. Yesterday was Jamal's son Jamal. His birthday. His birthday was yesterday, so we say happy birthday to Jamal Stevenson Jr. And listen, y'all, a national holiday is coming up on this Saturday. We're saying happy birthday to Derek T-Bone Williams. Amen. Amen.
T-Bone.
Derek is celebrating his 64th birthday. I said I can say that 'cause I know he don't mind it. And we Derek and I we met almost 54 years ago. We met on my birthday, my 10th birthday. We're almost there, 54 years. And Jamel came somewhere in the picture after that. So you met when Derek was 20 years old.
Yeah. Yes.
Derek was 20 years old when you all met, and then I met you through Derek.
Derek.
So listen. So there's a whole lot of time up
There's
in here.
Connection.
And then Tyrone and Mark and even Rich go back to high school. And some of y'all don't know, but Rich and I, along with Derek and Tyrone knew him, but Tyrone wasn't there. But myself, Derek and Rich graduated the same year, 1980, from Hempstead High School.
I didn't go to Hempstead, but I spent all my time there. I went to Hempstead prom. I think it was my prom with Hempstead's prom.
Yep. So listen, so it's a good thing. And all right, let me see. Where was I at? I did that. All right.
Rev.
Yes, sir.
Hempstead High School. Yesterday, Jamal's son, my sister's birthday, she was 65 yesterday, and Bill Stephanie on the same day.
Oh, okay.
He's with us, in 1980. Bill Stephanie.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good company.
Well, Bill Stephanie and I have something in common, that his son, I think his son's birthday is on my birthday, September the 16th. But also one of his sons, if it's not the same son, one of his sons has club feet.
Oh, wow.
And that's what I was born with, club feet. And for those who don't know, club feet is actually when my feet was turned in backwards, and I had a brace to hold them out. So I had special shoes with a metal bar going across to keep them facing that way to make them straight. They actually told my parents at that time that he'll never be able to walk properly.
Right.
I said it to say this. Look at God.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not only was I able to walk, but I was able to run.
Like the wind.
And went to school for free.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because of them same feet.
Same
and
feet.
Wilma Rudolph had the same thing, and she became the fastest woman in the world. Yeah.
Sure did. So my point to even saying that is to say this. For those who are listening, Dave, Ty, I know you haven't shared with us yet, but whatever it is, there's nothing too big for God. Whatever that situation is, God can do it. My wife was really ill. Derek knows. Most of y'all know. Yeah, I think that almost everybody knows. My wife was really, really ill 20-something years ago. God healed her. God healed me, not only from club feet, but I had a heart condition where I'm probably one of the few people y'all know that had open heart surgery without my chest ever being opened.
Right.
Right. That's
Without my chest
That's God.
I'm walking around right now with a closed artery and doing more stuff than most people with everything working.
Right.
So I know God can do it.
Right.
So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And Dave, I want you to hear that listen, he's able. He's able. All right, listen. Thank you guys for doing the show last week. I think you did the week before too, or sometime. But I thank you guys because last week I was in a session. I'm going tonight, but I'm here. You guys did an awesome job last week. You guys do an awesome job every week because I truly believe that every person on here can lead this show, and the rest of us will just fall in line and let it go. Today, we're going to ask that AC going to lead us today in our conversation. One of these days, y'all not going to believe this, but one of these days, Jerry and Mark are going to do the show. I'm telling y'all right now. Look at Mark. Mark
I believe what I see it.
Look at Jerry. No, Jerry, hold on.
Hold on, no. Don't lose your lunch.
AC is in.
Okay. Well, in the vein of everybody doing a good job last week and continue this week, D, start us up.
All right. So the first one we're gonna go to Manhattan. New York City. Everybody knows the one of the states federal plaza. At some point, everybody got something to do with 26 Federal Plaza. I don't care if you're getting a passport or you got some immigration issues or some FBI issues. You got to go to 26 Federal Plaza. And we had a former military guy express himself, for lack of a better word, in front of 26. Let's take a look.
Right, Shirley, the very latest. Let's keep this in perspective. It remains an ongoing situation and investigation 8.5 hours after this broke out. You see, NYPD, FBI, still very much on the scene and a heavy presence. They say that a 43-year-old man, Andrew Arabaka, was behind all of this, and he intended to do a lot of harm. This video clearly shows how serious this situation was. It was recorded by a resident who lives right across the street and above the scene that unfolded around 8:30 a.m. That's when a man apparently threw a liquid, ignited it, and as you see, he then threw another lit up object at the fire. The man starts to run away, but federal officers seize him right there since they're stationed here. It all unfolds at 26 Federal Plaza, home to a variety of federal offices, including some belonging to ICE. It has a detention lockup on the 10th floor that's related to Federal Immigration Court, which is also in the building. More video from seconds after officers put out the fire shows them taking the man into custody in the federal building. At least 3 people, according to the FDNY, were injured. 2 treated at the scene, 1 other sent to the hospital, but none seriously injured from the fire and explosion. For hours after what the FBI calls an attack, its agents, along with ATF, NYPD, FDNY, and other agencies' officers, carried out a detailed investigation. It included them closely examining a rifle, as you see. Ballistics technicians also appeared to empty out the weapon. On Monday afternoon, the FBI identified him as 43-year-old Andrew Arabaka. He'd served in the U.S. Army from 2001 to 2005, but now, say investigators,
Mr. Arabaka was looking to injure people and harm people.
They said Arabaka fired 5 to 7 shots from the airsoft rifle. He had 2 airsoft rifles on him, they said, along with a small arsenal.
He had 2 axes, a hammer, a machete, and 3 knives, fixed blade knives.
They also examined a wagon that they said the man had brought with him. It had been full of items that evidence techs later laid out to analyze. It also had a sign displayed on it that read, "Ice off our streets." The whole thing kept the block just north of 26 Federal Plaza shut down all day creating issues for people who work here.
But I have an immigration client. If I don't show up, he gets deported.
And back here live, you see technicians still working this scene. The FBI saying that regular activity inside this building, 26 Federal Plaza, went ahead as scheduled. Meanwhile, they have been questioning Mr. Arabaka and say they expect serious charges to be filed against him at the federal level. Certainly we'll stay on top of this as it continues to unfold, and it does not look like this crime scene is going to be cleared anytime soon. Right now, reporting live from Lower Manhattan, I'm James Ford, Pix 11 News.
Okay. I don't know who went first, but I got Jim and Jamal.
If you guys are around. Are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, and I don't think anybody on this panel is surprised at all at what we saw. You know, as long as this guy is in office, and as long as this immigration policy continues the way it is with these untrained thugs in the street, there are going to be demonstrations, both peaceful and not peaceful. I mean, this guy's obviously is a little bit mentally unstable, to say the least. But people are going to die, and it's really sad because he just refuses to do just a simple thing as just change this deplorable, evil, and uncaring policy of immigration thugs just grabbing people off the street. You're going to see this kind of reaction. I'm sorry to say, I wish I could say that this was just a once over. It's not. It's going to happen time and time again. Thank God nobody was killed here. This guy, I mean, look what the fire he set, the rounds he was letting go, the amount of weapons he had. It's thank God nobody was injured or killed. But you're not going to be able to say that much longer. And you know, it just once again goes right back to this kind of regime, this authoritarian regime that's running our country. And as we've said all along, the ICE agents, they're not trained police officers. These ICE agents are really nothing more than thugs. They're, for you history buffs, they're the brown shirts in Nazi Germany. Just go along the street, just grabbing people, whipping them up and throw them in there or shoot or kill them. That's what you see. And there will be a reaction. We've said this on more than one show, that the people are going to have it up to here. And when they strike back, it's not going to be pleasant. And poor, unfortunate, good, everyday cops are going to get caught in the crossfire. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to Jamal next with D. No, we might have to do an article. I'll talk to you about it later.
Okay. I got you.
I'm up. AC?
Yes, you're up, Joel.
Yes. You know, again, you know, we see the criminal activity unleashed by individuals who are deranged, have some diminished mental capacity, and you know, this affects civilians as well as uniformed members of the service. It affects us all. You know, I mean, we are all at the mercy of any individual who may cross our paths at some point during the day to unleash some mental instability that could cause us harm or maybe even death. Listen, it's clear that this individual had an axe to grind with ICE or some government uniform personnel, but yet I hope our viewers can see the stress, the things that uniform officers are confronted with during their course of their tour. I mean, they are in harm's way at all times during their tour. So it's just clear that uniform officers, we're at risk. Whether you're a federal law enforcement officer, state, city, county, town, whatever that might be. But it's just clear that we saw how the officers react this individual to prevent him from doing any more harm to any property or to anyone. But again, law enforcement work, people, is not easy, and it could come at the death of any law enforcement individual. And I just want to stress that law enforcement work is difficult, and we risk our lives every time we put that uniform on. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. I think I have Dave next. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with everybody on here, man. Jim, you were right on point, man. People are pissed off, man, and what they amount of damage that this man served the country. He was a veteran. He served this nation, and he just lost it. Okay, and thank God nobody else was hurt and killed. But this is not the end. You're going to see more people striking out. Enough is enough, and now it's just incredible. You got our kids being killed across seas, young babies. It's enough is enough, man. But it's going to take. I don't know, man. It's going to take stuff. It's going to be way past our lifetime before all this damage is repaired. People are hot and heated. Family members are getting scraped off the street. You got cars and vehicles with no lights, no sirens, running people off the road, shooting people because they said they're ICE. No, man. This is not America, man. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. I got D. Will and Rich.
AC, let me slip in there real quick, AC. I've been trying to send you a message, but you're not reading your
I haven't seen it. I'm sorry.
Listen, let me just say, because I didn't recognize our guests. Ruth Caffey, Donald Coleman, Sylvia Butler, Sharon Stevenson, Carl Saunders, Valerie Burris Marsh, Karen Caffey, Eva, Renee Henderson. I want to thank you guys for joining. Then I did want to make another special announcement. One of our faithful watchers, Ruth Caffey, just celebrated her 98th birthday on Saturday. 98th birthday on Saturday. And she's with us every week along with her daughter, Karen Caffey. Dave, that's your number one fan, Dave. Caffey said she'd get on here to see what Dave got to say. So happy birthday, Sister Mother Ruth Caffey in our church. Okay, I just wanted to say that there were no comments. Carl says I've been knowing Donald and Derek forever. That's true. He's a couple of years behind us. Donald Coleman says good afternoon. Donald Coleman is in his 80s. I think he's 82, 83, probably older. I don't know. He's in his 80s, so that's for sure. So I just wanted to say that to those. Okay, I think next was D. Was it D or Rich?
Yeah.
D. It was D.
D to me.
Two quick things I want to say. I'm going to be really, really quick. Welcome everybody watching us, and Mother Caffey, happy birthday. Tried to send you a message on one of them social medias. I don't know if you know, but listen, I'm your Dave's fan. I'm your fan. Let's put it that way.
That's right. Yeah.
Listen, every week I say the same thing. I'm not gonna beat it up. You got to do your job. I don't know. I'm gonna give you a little more context of what happened. This guy stood out in front of 26 Federal. Now I used to work across the street at 100 Center Street. Derek knows where that is. Literally across the street from 26 Federal Plaza. Back in the day when I was working, you can't get near that building. You gotta have a Ouija board, a ID, and an act of God to get near that building. This gentleman was allowed to stand on the other side. Derek, you know what them barriers mean. Everybody in the world know what them barriers mean. You ain't supposed to cross. He was on the other side of the barriers. He took his airsoft rifle and he was shooting for a long time, wasn't getting the necessary reaction that he wanted. He dragged a bottle of, we don't know what it was, poured it out there, set it on fire, and if you know where that was on 20, he got halfway down the block before they put hands on him. Walking, gone.
Yes.
He was gone. There was nobody on the block, but had it been around lunchtime, he gonna get 3 feet. You ain't gonna see him down there. That's downtown Manhattan. You're not gonna see him down there. We used to have to, us cops used to have to hold hands to make sure we got back to the station together, because it's just too many people. I'm saying that to say somebody ain't doing their job. I don't know. You can't get close to me. You can't get close to my house with an airsoft rifle and a bottle of gasoline. You come on Denise Street, that's where I live. I don't care, y'all know. And you got a whole problem. My neighbors tell me all the time when they get a new car, borrow a car, one of their kids come, hey, how you doing? Oh, okay. Oh, red Mercedes. Oh, nice. You just got that? Okay. Who's not doing their job? Who's allowed to walk up to your front door? Federal Plaza. 26 Federal Plaza. You're hiring your friends who are hiring their buddies who are hiring. That's going to go into the next video, so I ain't going to read it. Who are hiring people that shouldn't be hired. And what he was able to do in that short period of time is just a matter of luck. That whole building didn't come down. It's a matter of luck. And I'm not talking about, I'm not giving nobody no ideas, but not what he did, but where he did it. If he had been, I looked at it, I said, ooh, had he been about 60 or 70 feet in another direction, I don't want to tell you which direction, the whole building would have came down. Because something else is there. I don't want to tell you what it is, because then they're going to tell me I'm supporting terrorism. And then Cash Patel going to come get me. We are in a place where we're okay with people not being able to do their job. I know. I want to hire all my friends and buddies and kids. I want to give everybody get a check. I'm the first one to get you a check. But I get you a check, but you got to be capable. And you got to be able to do the job. And now there's so many. First of all, you fire all the people that are doing the job. And now I'm hiring people that not won't, but can't do the job. Policing looks good on TV. It looks great. You know, but by the end of the hour long, after all the shooting, everybody's back to work. Yeah, both of y'all know. No, sir. No, sir. I mean, we don't see him for 6 months. Policing looks good on TV. And I know all of these soldiers of fortune think I can do it. If this ain't showing you can't do it, you can't protect the building. This is policing. Come on, y'all. 101. You're a perimeter. That's where we all start. As young guys, we secure the scene, right? Nobody gets to do the crime scene. We go out here and our job, hey, you ain't getting by me. If there's a whole gate, I tell you what, I got to take you out before you get past this gate. This guy's able to walk up and touch the building with fire. I don't know about y'all, but I'm scared. I'm a little scared. You walked up to this building and was able to get a 40-foot fire going? Oof. A federal building in New York City, a quarter mile away from the Trade Center? Somebody ain't doing their job. And if this don't nothing to tell you, what'll happen when, what was that thing when one of our presidents was unalived a long time ago? You see what a pissed off Marine with a rifle can do? Come on, Rich. You know what? One pissed off Marine with a rifle changed the world. So let's right the ship. I get the friendship thing. Give him a check. I'd rather give him a check than allow him to protect my federal building. That's just me. And that's all I got.
Okay. My corrected list is Rich then Will.
That's it.
Okay. Good afternoon once again. I don't know what the problem is with these guys that aren't doing their job. Like it's lack of training. They don't see the signs, or they're just lazy. I don't know what it is. They're not focused in on what they should be focused in on. It's sad. There's no way that that guy should have got where he got to at that building. If those guys are doing their job, I mean, I don't know if he had the complexion, to get away with dereliction, but I know how we stand out. When we're walking around or in the area, that we're target friendly. The acquisition is on us, but maybe he had the complexion to get away with dereliction. It's a sad state. As a veteran, I feel fellow veterans' pain that we have this loser commander in chief, draft dodger, disrespectful to the military. They watch the dignified transfer of American soldiers that have lost their lives, and they see this guy standing there. He can't even stand still. He's wavering back and forth as he walks. He's patting his side. He's just disrespectful. And then he says that the ones that lost their lives said they didn't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. He doesn't know that. That's another disrespect. You're going to put words in the mouths of people, that gave their lives, make the ultimate sacrifice. This galls me. Just to see this individual be commander in chief, knowing he's a criminal and a rapist and a corrupt guy who's now setting up, to rig the elections. We never had rigged elections until we had him. And I say investigate 2024 for fraud, election fraud. Let's do a deep dive on that, because 2020 has been delved into and debunked and kicked out by courts. Let's try 2024 and see what happened there. Am I Elon on this? I'm just saying it's. But lastly, what I'll say is what happened was tragic. Some people got injured, but not critically, which is good. I'm just noticing that people are just starting to get crazy. I mean, is it me, or have you noticed on the freeways, people are taking a lot of chances, driving erratic? And that's what happens when the government's out of control and people feel like there's nobody there for them. They get out of whack and they start driving erratically. I've seen so much of this, and I'm just like, wow. If I was still working, I'd pull that person over. If I was still working, I would have get this person. Well, this guy went 4 lanes over to the exit. I mean, it's just that kind of craziness. So watch out, be safe. People are crazy out there because shit's out of control in our government, and they don't feel safe or protected. So this is where we're at. Sad state. That's all I got.
Thank you. Will?
On my investigator's hat right now, and listening to you folks that are more familiar with that area and how you describe how well secure it is. You have designated barriers, and that's one of the things about multiple barriers. It is easier to see when someone gets beyond an outer perimeter to get closer to the inner perimeter, and you don't wait anymore. So maybe you, instead of investigating, you might call a conspiracy theorist, but let's look at this thing. You just had the shooting in Maine, and the background come out about the officer that did the shooting. I'm sorry. The individual who was an ICE agent who did the shooting, he doesn't deserve the respect of being called an officer by any stretch. None of them do. You have these soldiers who lost their lives over there in a questionable, at best, war effort with rising gas prices. What have we noticed about this administration? The minute the fire gets too hot in one place, whether you want to call this ironic or not, they set a fire someplace else. Look at the breadcrumbs laid in this scenario. This man was beyond the outer perimeter barrier with security in the area, and nobody saw him. I'm sorry, somebody saw him. He's got airsoft rifles, not real rifles, airsoft. And he's actively firing for a time, but not getting the reaction that he wants. So now he sets fire in an area during a time of day that otherwise might be overwhelmingly occupied. Conveniently now, the time is chosen that no one is there. He's got a great big banner on the side of a wagon that says remove ICE in front of a building where virtually everybody knows that there's ICE offices and detention. Anybody else not seeing these obvious breadcrumbs, and then they take him into custody after he's got something that looks like 2 long guns, because you don't know they're airsofts. He's taken into custody without a single gunshot. That's it. No way. All of this is a facade to redirect your focus on what's actually going on. They took this cat away quietly. They inventoried what was in his cart, and they called it an arsenal. Come on now. When you think arsenal, what comes to mind? Firearms. Am I right or wrong?
Of course.
Who do you know that gets characterized as an arsenal with knives and hatchets? Really? And he gets taken into custody, and they look like the flipping heroes because they stopped this thing, and he set a fire on a brick sidewalk. What's going to burn? Now, I realize what Dee was saying, that had it been set somewhere else, you might have had a lot more stuff going on. But now that leads into my point. Y'all, if this doesn't scream an organized, planned event to where the person got taken into custody, they weren't hurt, so you don't have the outrage about that. You've got a clear indication of what you want people to think, because you want people to think that ICE is getting all this violence directed at them to validate and justify what they're doing on the street. Anybody notice his name? Does it or does it not sound like it has a Hispanic background to it? Maybe it's just me. That's my point.
I'm sorry, it was skipping when you were talking. Did you say it was bullshit?
I did.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I couldn't hear it.
That part went out, AC.
Yeah. For those that might be a little bit heavy, we'll call it balderdash. How about that?
No, bullshit fits. Okay. Get Mark and then D. I need you to work on the next one.
Yeah, real quick. There's a limited amount of resources, and the orange guy pulled a lot of the resources to keep an eye on the reflecting pool, because that's much more important than stop laughing, AC. So that's more important. I mean, you can't get near that reflecting pool. So it's more important than any other government building. That was it. I'm done.
Also, I'm glad you brought that out, Will. ICE agents work in this building, and this person is supposed to be against ICE came there brandishing weapons, because you don't know it's the airsoft gun until you pick it up and see it doesn't fire bullets. It fires something different. You can't tell the difference from a distance. Somebody came up there brandishing weapons and accelerant, and nobody gets shot.
Nobody.
Meanwhile, if you're in the car, if there's a woman in the car, they get shot. I'm sorry, it don't make sense to me.
It will never make sense.
All right, let me get the next one. But let me say this, since you guys bring that up, everybody on TV has seen where all those ICE agents are outside. They're all masked up, and they're going in and out of a building. That's the other side of that building. That's the other side of that building. That's the south end. That's the north end where he did it. It's the south end of that building. Just wanted to bring that up since that's what we were talking about. And Will, you said something about the Maine shooting. That's gonna be our next video. We're gonna skip ahead, guys. I know we planned something else, but AC called the audible. So we're gonna go to the Maine shooting where that ICE agent shouldn't even have been hired. Let's take a look at that, and then we'll go from there.
Law enforcement, often local police. One of the things that inevitably happens fairly quickly is that the shooter is identified, or shooters. Because after all, these are public officials. They're wielding public power, and we in the public have a right to know who they are, right? Whether they acted wrongly or not. It's a public matter of information. But that is not what happens after DHS officers kill someone in the Trump era.
Yes.
Now, instead, there's a cover-up, an all-hands-on-deck attempt to hide the identities of the agents involved as if that were a secret or a private matter. But we still live in a free country. Reporters have a job to do, which is find out the truth. And this week, very fine reporters at the Associated Press and the Portland Press Herald have learned that the officer who killed a 25-year-old father in Biddeford, Maine this week is, in fact, 37-year-old David Brulett. Several close relatives, including 2 ex-wives and 1 daughter, told the AP that Brulett struggles with psychiatric issues, was diagnosed with severe bipolar disorder as a child, has a history of domestic violence and verbal abuse, and should never have been given a law enforcement badge. One of Brulett's ex-wives, Ashley, who he married after they graduated high school in 2007, told the AP that he once threw boiling water at her while she was holding their child. Her mother also recounted the incident. Ashley says she divorced him in 2009 because of repeated instances of physical violence, which nevertheless continued after she left him. He later remarried, divorced again in 2019. His second ex-wife filed for legal protection because of his abuse. The AP did not identify her because she fears retaliation. But the Associated Press did obtain hundreds of family court records detailing years of physical and verbal abuse against her and their daughters. Allegations like tackling his teenage daughter and dragging her around the house as she cried. An estranged immediate relative who spoke to the AP on the condition of anonymity said that Brulett grew up fascinated with the military and law enforcement, pledging to eventually join their ranks. They said he was initially rejected by military recruiters because of his mental health diagnoses. But under guidance from recruiters, he went off his medications for a year, then reapplied. He was eventually able to enlist. He served in the National Guard from 2007 to 2010, then joined the regular Army, deploying to Afghanistan from May 2012 to February 2013 before leaving the Army as a sergeant in 2015. The AP and the Press Herald report he went on to hold several different jobs, many in law enforcement, including at a medium security prison. He joined ICE in late 2025 as the agency was ramping up its recruitment. Reporting at the time showed that, quote, some new ICE recruits have shown up to training without full vetting. Around this time, Brulett left a voicemail for his first wife, Ashley, which she shared with the AP. In it, he repeatedly called her disgusting and suggested that she and the other women and girls in her bloodline should, quote, have your effing throats cut. Ashley told the AP, the Press Herald, that this week Brulett admitted to the fatal shooting in a phone call with her. She said he asked her to, quote, lie for him and to cover for his character, that the most important thing is his character right now. Ashley also spoke to NPR, telling their reporter she worries racism may have played a part in the shooting. Quote, he has displayed racism. His nickname in high school was White Boy David, if that tells you anything. Now, I want to be clear, David Brulett did not respond to NPR AP's request for comment. ICE gave this statement, and quote, we will never confirm or deny attempts to dox our law enforcement officers. The ICE officer in question has nearly a decade of federal law enforcement experience with required training, including use of force training. From where things stand now, it looks like Republicans funded a massive ICE hiring spree. ICE failed to adequately vet its new hires. A conservative Supreme Court has basically cleared the way for racial profiling in ICE stops. And now, yet another father is dead at the hands of federal agents.
You're on mute, AC. You're on mute.
Thank you. My list, correct me, I had Jim, Jamal, Dave.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct.
Oh, please continue that order.
One thing that we keep saying, and I think it's incorrect. This isn't a lack of vetting or poor vetting. They know exactly who they're hiring. These are exactly the ICE agents that the Trump regime wants.
Yep.
They want racists. They want wife beaters. They want lawbreakers. This guy fit right into ICE. We're giving ICE too much benefit of the doubt by saying, oh, there's a big lax of vetting, and that their training is too quick. They want it quick. They want that kind of guy on the street. Wow. This is done on purpose. Trust me. That's it.
Woo. Jamal.
Yeah. Jamal,
Donald, you wanted to say something?
No, you're up.
Okay. Yes. After hearing that from Jim, I tell you, that is real difficult to digest, man. Knowing that if we should believe or know that our federal government is hiring, individuals with backgrounds like that to be out here to do enforcement against the American people, I mean that's a travesty. I mean it's so wrong. Again, when you take a look at this individual's background, I mean he himself questions his own character. He asks for a family member, to go out and say nice flowery things, about his past history and character. So he himself admits that, his character is flawed, and but yet and still, the individuals in personnel that vetted this guy, that screened this guy, that did background checks on this guy, they said that, hey, he fits the bill. This is what we want out there, representing our federal law enforcement. Unfortunately, because of this guy's past behavior, we have a dead individual. We have a family that's mourning. We all here at Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations, we extend our condolences to that individual's family. Listen, again, we have witnessed what is happening to our government, what is happening to our communities, and we just only pray that we can all stay out of harm's way. But until this guy is voted out of office, guys, I can't tell you what to expect tomorrow. That's it, guys.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, this young man died in front of his beautiful girlfriend and beautiful 3-year-old daughter. Okay, they shot him in his head. They shot straight through the windshield, pulled him out of the car, didn't even look to see if he had a pulse, and handcuffed him. This is the sadistic shit that I'm talking about when I was being homicide. If that guy is lit up, okay, but he has an appearance of life, then you do CPR. What are you handcuffing people for who are getting ready to go out of the picture, and you're standing there trying to make up your story to tell your boss? Okay? And Jim, you are 1,000% right. They knew exactly who they were hiring. Some of these boys were rioters on January 6th, got locked up, got charged, and sent to prison. Trump got pardoned them, and they hired them in ICE. Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and other white supremacy groups hired. Okay? And this is what they're doing. Okay? And this shit where you're driving around in a damn SUV with no lights, no sirens. Okay? Now, what if you come across a Latino cop or black cop, okay, off-duty detective, okay, and you're mistaken, here you are with this mistaken identity bullshit again, because it comes to find out this wasn't the subject they were looking for anyway, again. Now, what if you're an off-duty detective or off-duty cop? Going home, mind your business, went outside, your wife may ask you, oh, can you just grab some milk on the way home? Sure. I'm going to grab me a 6-pack for the house. And you get this shit coming up at you. You can't tell me ain't nobody on here going to get out and get ready to light shit up. If you don't think that's possible, it's coming. Okay? If I'm driving down, I use my late uncle, he's a retired, well, he was a Capitol Police. I use his pickup truck. If I'm driving down the block in that Sanford and Son truck and some asshole try to ram me up the road, some asshole try to ram me up the road, goddamn, I'm going to be worse than Rollo. You understand? I'm telling you. I'm gonna be worse than Rallo. I mean, this is not right, man. This is not our fabric here, man. And I hear some Democrats talking about, well, we gotta abolish ICE. You know what? If you want to say that, then once we get back in there, then you have to be able to say what you're going to replace it with. Okay, you have to have a plan, a plan forward. First thing I'm do is I'm grabbing everybody that got hired under Trump, and I'm locking their asses up after I vet them. I'm locking their asses up. Okay, I'm going from the top to bottom, and I don't want to hear this shit. Well, you know, we're in here now. We just want to move forward and try to get the better out of America. No. Now you're going to get the better of America? You put some goddamn handcuffs on some people who started this shit. And then you prosecute the shit out of them so this will never, ever happen again. Okay? If you want me to show you how to do it, I got 2 feet right here. I'll show you. But that's the bottom line. We can't allow this kind of shit to go forward. This is affecting our grandchildren. Some of us don't even know it.
Yeah.
They're all innocent and pure right now. But man, when they get their 10 years, what are you going to say? Grandpa, Grandma, how come you didn't tell me this was going on? I'm done.
Okay. Before I come to you, Derek, Donald, you got your finger up?
Yeah, Donald Coleman says, Dave, make sure you leave Grady home. My wife said, real talk, Dave. Carl Saunders asked a question. Does ICE have a license to carry a gun? I know the answer, but I'm just leaving it for you guys. Anybody want to, I mean, they're federal agents. Yeah, they have a right to carry a gun.
Yeah. If they didn't have a right to carry a gun, they wouldn't be shooting people.
Right.
Yeah. They're carrying guns. They're on duty. Yeah.
Good, Derek. Oh, I'm sorry, Don, you finished?
Yeah, I am finished. It is Derek, D, and Will.
Yeah. So they said this guy suffered from bipolarism, and no one that suffers from bipolarism or any other mental deficit or defect should be allowed to pass a medical exam or a psychological exam in order to get hired. And no one that suffers from those diseases should be able to get an appointment to law enforcement of any kind, not even a corrections department. But this goes back to the female journalist a number of months back who went in for an interview with ICE. She applied, even though she was a Democrat. She applied, she went in, she sat in for less than 8 minutes for an interview, left, she did not do the drug test that they assigned her to do, and then she gets an email that she's hired. So they're not looking to follow any rules. They're not looking to do anything in a logical way to hire people. Basically, if they think you're racist and you're white and they think you'll do the job that they want you to do, which is basically similar to what a slave catcher used to do, the roundup job, you're going to get hired. You're going to get hired. And as far as them justifying their shooting, police officers have to, if us as police officers, we all had to justify shootings if we were involved in a shooting. They don't have to justify anything because there's no investigation. They're damaging or destroying evidence, making evidence disappear. They're not creating a crime scene. And every Republican, from the top down, from the president to the head of the FBI to governors, all of them, as soon as the person gets shot and killed, they're saying it was justified with no investigation. So they don't have to justify anything. It's unfortunate, it's criminal, and hopefully somewhere down the road, some of these people will be held accountable. But as long as this administration is in power, we're not going to see any accountability. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. D?
Really quick, just two quick points. First of all, being involved in every aspect of the hiring process for the state police from beginning to end, going through it first and then being a part of it, just the way my career went. You couldn't get on the state police with a parking ticket. You came in here with a parking ticket. Like, oh, come here. We got serious business here. You'd have thought he had a body in the trunk. The parking ticket was a problem. We had to go back to the police officer, to go back to Ty, find out, well, was it his car he was driving? And this is what we had to, this is how stringent it used to be. I know it's not different, but I'm just wanting you to understand it can be done properly if you want it to. If it's not done, it's because you're choosing for it to be done. And my second point was when I've done some close personal protection, both statewide and federal. And the first conversation I have with anybody is, there's gonna become a day when you're gonna fire me. And I used to go to work with the state police, and they used to say, "Schoon, why you keep saying that? There's gonna come a day, boss, when you gonna fire me, because you're gonna want me to do something that consciously with my I can't do. I'm here to do a certain job. The time clock is over. You telling me to go home, but 26 Federal Plaza is not being covered, so I can't leave till you get me relief. But go home. You off the clock. I'm sorry, sir. You want to fire me that day because I got to do my job." And we had an incident where a guy stayed on a post for a day and a half, and because they forgot about him. And the trooper up in the North Country said, "I couldn't leave. I can't leave. Y'all forgot about me." I kept calling, "Hey, am I going to get some relief?" But there was so much going on, 1,000 troopers running around. They forgot him. He stayed on his post for 2 days. Yeah, he got paid, but he stayed on his post. I'm saying that to say, I know certain people want to hire your friends, but you're hiring your friends that got to protect your life. Am I the only one seeing there's a problem with that? I hire my friends that got to say, "Hey, boss, we can't go." I've had many a client, "No, we not jumping on a train and going uptown." Absolutely not. We'll figure out an SUV. I'd rather walk with you, but we're not getting on the train. It's not safe. So I know we're hiring our friends and we're getting everybody a check and it's fun. But what's going to happen is your fun is going to allow somebody to get into a place like happened with this thing, that the place where they're not supposed to be. And you're going to get your ticket punched. Many a client, you got to get fired. Well, why did y'all get on the plane? D said, "Absolutely not. We ain't getting on that plane. It's too heavy. I'm not the smartest knife in here. We got some real smart people in here. We got some learned folks in here. But I know if the plane's heavy, we ain't getting on it. I don't care. Oh, you gonna get fired? Well, me and you gonna stay here." And one day I'm gonna be fired. You gonna be alive, and I'm gonna go back to work my other job. Anyway, this mindset of putting all these people around. I know what we're saying because we want a certain outcome. Sooner or later, the world is round, y'all. It's gonna come back. If we see it, I see because I look at things a little differently. I see it. You're gonna get yourself in some serious trouble because the people around me are not capable of doing their job. They're friends. They like me. They want to keep their job. And you can't do your job being a friend, being liked, and wanting you to keep my job. That's not how you're going to do your job. Sometime your job is to get fired. I'm going to leave it right there.
Okay, thank you. I got Will, Donald, Rich, and Mark.
I remember enough of the story accurately. He got picked up by ICE, I think they said, in late 2025. And the statement that was read by the representative from ICE is that he's got 10 years of federal agent experience. I'm sorry, y'all. It ain't law enforcement. They do not get that respect, not even close. But here's the thing. 2009, his wife divorced him predominantly because of domestic violence scenario. And there's records to that in the courts. 2019, the same thing happens again, and he appears to have escalated from 2009. And he's got 10 years experience. And my point about talking about this 10 years of experience, this gentleman was hired before all of what we're seeing in this administration. in an environment. Now, I see a comment from Renee Henderson that says, I personally knew someone who retired from the department as a deputy inspector who took medication because he was bipolar. Now, my experience has been in law enforcement. For a lot of agencies, they have an initial vetting process in two areas that oftentimes do not get re-vetted during the course of your career are physical fitness and mental health. The only reason that those two areas get reevaluated is if you had some sort of injury and they have to determine if you're fit for duty, or if you have something take place as a critical incident and as a part of the internal investigation, you go for a mental health evaluation. Otherwise, you could get some sort of mental health diagnosis not attached to an incident and you go on medication. Now, the first wife, I think, said he was fascinated with joining the military or joining law enforcement, said that that's what he wants to do. And he goes to the military and they don't want to bring him on because he is on medication for severe bipolar. If I heard that correctly, they said he got off the medication, effectively removing a record that he is bipolar, and then they allow him to enlist. You already pulled a pin on a grenade and was throwing it then. So what we've got going on here is something that goes even deeper than what this administration is trying to do. It is problematic of a culture that just bubbled to the top with the practices of this administration and their lack of vetting, intentionally lack of vetting. And I think it was Derek that said it, much like the slave patrols. They only had a handful of law enforcement officers back in the day. And when the time came that they decided there was somebody or a group of people that they wanted to round up, they went around and got some folks that were like-minded and like-looking and said, hey, this is who we're going to get. Somebody that don't look like us. And that's what they did. And now we're seeing it, as Dee said a minute ago, we're in a round marble. If you travel far enough, you'll come back around to where you began.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm good.
Donald?
Just want to read some comments. Karen Caffey says, D Schoon, you need to know that my mom definitely saw your message. She absolutely loves this show. Anyone who knows her knows not to call or visit on Thursday afternoons. She loves watching and listening to each of you, and especially when Dave and JT get fired up. Reverend Butler may not have heard about the tree struck by lightning on my mom's lawn on July 4th, and part of the tree that rested on the utility wires until Monday. It's been quite a month, and she is blessed. Yes, she is. I saw her on Sunday in church, and she is blessed. Also, oh, you just read that one from Renee Henderson. Carl Saunders says, guys, you have to remember when you guys became cops, you didn't need college credit. So when blacks started becoming cops, they started that you needed 60 credits to make it harder for blacks. And Carl, that's true with NYPD, but it's not true with all police departments. Because even with Hempstead, you don't even need a college degree today. So, but NYPD did start, I don't know what for the reason, but they did start the 60 credit.
60 credits or 2 years in the military.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And, was there a specific reason for that, or?
I don't know what that reason would have been.
Yeah,
I really
know.
don't.
Too many officers. I was the first college class that came out with college credits. I graduated. I stayed 4 years, and then I came on, and they said the reasoning was behind it was these young cops that they were hiring, mostly white cops, didn't understand the different ethnicities around the city. Okay. And they wanted people who, if you went to a university or a college somewhere, you have people from all over the world there. You know how to sit down and talk and deal with people. They got tired of the same brute mentality. And so Ed Koch said, listen, we need to start hiring more college people. And that's when they hired us.
Okay.
It was a big deal. Back in a lot of black folks wanted
Oh,
that
yeah.
because a lot of us went to college.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they wanted that back then.
I'm almost done. AC, almost done. Burl McMillan says, hello, everyone. Richard Bowden says, the amount of soldiers on psycho meds in the Army is staggering. He said, it's staggering. Okay, AC, I'm done.
Okay. You're next, Rich, but I want Mark to speak to the college grads.
Yeah, I was just going to say there was also a bunch of incidents with cops that were messing up. So they felt that they wanted more educated guys because they were paying the money that they were paying. So they thought that if they changed it, because Nassau County had it, so they were also trying to keep up with Nassau County.
Okay.
All right. Rich, and then Mark.
Yeah, just real quick, I wanted to share with you the photo that's behind me. The White House put this out. They tried to, they had decided to maybe change the name of ICE because ICE had been shooting people and people hating ICE. They wanted to change the name to NICE. That struck me as ridiculous. Instead of being ICE, they wanted to change it to National Immigration, and they're showing this picture with the NICE agent with a Hispanic child. In the background is a flag, and then there's a guard tower, and I mean this is where we're at. NICE agents. It's a horrible organization. When they were allowed to start jumping out in the streets and attacking people, masked up with no insignia, no name that you could place with a masked face, and that was allowed to go on, I said, this is destined to get people killed. This is destined to be bad news. This organization is a group of thugs set up with the authority to hurt people. And then when you start to see them do traffic stops where if you don't act fast enough, they're breaking your windshield. They're breaking your window. But they don't expect you to react like your window's getting broken. One officer's talking to you here, they're breaking your right side window. But don't react, because if you react, they're going to do something to you. This is horrible times 10. This organization is just a group of thugs that were given the authority to hurt people. And they're showing it every single day. And more people are going to get hurt behind these guys with their tactics, lack of training, no vetting. I don't even, the playbook is simple. Like you said, it's set up this way. They want people to fear them. They are the new brown shirts. This fascist government has overtaken our democracy. And I don't know how you cannot be outraged. Anybody who's served knows what it's like to serve and appreciates a governing body, a chief who supports their people, and you feel like whatever order you receive, it's going to be a good order, or it's an instruction you need to follow because that person is a real leader. But we don't have that. We have 17 service personnel that have been killed on a nuclear threat that was non-existent. And the Strait of Hormuz was already open. A war of choice. Men and women in uniform are dying on a war of choice. And they don't have any confidence in their leadership. Hegseth, the Department of War, or he wants to call it, the Secretary of Defense, those senators called him out and said, hey, you're a failure. You're failing the military. And he got all wound up and said the senator had TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. They don't answer questions. They obfuscate. They go back to the talking points. I don't know when they've ever been allowed not to answer questions on congressional hearing. but they don't. But then they want to charge, the special counsel with lying to them. And he didn't lie. They're going after the good guys, and the bad guys are getting away. The bad guys are abusing people. Pedophiles are getting away with not being prosecuted. But you got the attorney general, the ex-FBI director, special counsel, that they weaponize the DOJ to go after them because that's what Trump wants. Once again, another sad commentary, sad state. I won't take any more of your time. Thanks.
Thank you. Jim, you got your finger up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say to Rich, I understand exactly the frustration of why aren't people, more upset about this. They are getting upset every day, but it's the old saying, and I'm sure you guys have heard it a thousand times. How did Germany allow these crazy Nazis to take over their democratic country at the time? And is that saying about, well, at first they came after the homosexuals. I'm not a homosexual, so I stood quiet. Then they came after the communists. I'm not a communist, so I didn't say anything. Then they came after the Jews. I'm not Jewish, so I stayed silent. And then they came after me, and there was nobody to speak up for me. And
Wow.
that's kind of what you see going on right here.
Woo. Jim.
Good point. Mark, Will, and then D.
Yeah, that was powerful, Jim.
Mhm.
It's typical Trump to not change ICE's tactics, but their name. It's just idiotic. I mean, think about that. Something's not working. So you know what? Instead of putting handcuffs on them and tell them, listen, calm it down, do it the right way, follow law enforcement's way. No, I'm just going to rename them a nice name, and everything's going to be better. But I did want to say this about what Jim said earlier, prior to. We as ex-law enforcement are looking at this with common sense, which is the biggest problem. And Jim made a statement that all of this stuff is not going to get corrected until the current government is gone. Hopefully they'll get locked up. But once they're gone, we got a lot of fixing to do. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Will, and then D for a new video, hopefully.
Wait a minute. Let me just get the comments in after Will. After Will.
Good.
You on mute, Will. Mute.
Yeah, I was the comments actually were going to kind of tie in.
Go ahead,
but
you get them.
This scenario got started, if I'm not mistaken, over a traffic stop for the gentleman. And once again, if you want to call yourself law enforcement, then abide by the protocols for how we operate. In order to have reason to stop someone, you have to have reasonable suspicion. This organization is operating their own sole reasonable suspicion is what an individual looks like, what they sound like, or where they might be coming from. Ladies and gentlemen, that is profiling on the basis of protected class. That is inherently illegal on its face. Point blank, period. And we all know that when you're evaluating officer behavior, if the inciting incident has an illegality, then everything after that becomes fruit of the poisonous tree.
Yeah.
And that's where we are here. Now, for those of us that have worked plainclothes assignments and you've used, because you typically don't work a plainclothes assignment in a marked unit. So you're in a plainclothes assignment in an unmarked unit. Unmarked meaning no formal decals or anything. You have lights, but the lights typically are just a matter of when you are on scene or acting or you need to reveal who you are. You do not use those lights for the purposes of initiating an enforcement action or an investigative action. If you have reason to stop a car, you get on the radio and you call a marked unit with an individual that has on a uniform so that they are readily identifiable as a police officer. Because it's not unheard of for someone to be able to use to get lights that mimic police officers. That's why we actually have laws against that. There's a reason why there's a law that you can't have red and blue lights in your car, because people have done that. So it stands to reason, why would you encourage individuals who are not in a marked vehicle, who are not in uniform, to conduct patrol level actions, and they are not properly represented? Getting out of the car with a tack vest and a badge on and a gun, that ain't gonna cut it, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody can get that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at this from that perspective, they need to stop any and all traffic stops. Unless they decide they want to put them in marked vehicles in full uniform, they need to stop these traffic stops, because they are overwhelmingly utilizing these individuals, whether they are leaving because they think it's suspicious that this person is not in uniform, or they're trying, whatever the case may be, it's convenient that the minute that they leave, they say, oh, I'm in fear for my life because they tried to run me over. And then they start lighting up the car with absolute impunity. And then people die. As for the comments, Richard Bowden, if you're on with us, one of our members, Kyle, asked, are you referring to presently serving officers or former soldiers with regards to your comment about how many are on psychomeds, which I haven't seen whether or not you responded to that. Richard Donald Coleman says, Rich, and also with a uniform on, go figure. Okay, so that goes back to what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Jones says, nice. No one will be riding the Nassau County buses. Not sure exactly what that is.
I will let you know, the Nassau County buses, the name of Nassau County buses is nice now.
There it is.
I figured I had to let you know, because that's a local thing. So
I appreciate that.
Right.
Okay. Karen Cappy says, more of their throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. Absolutely. This afternoon, the subpoenas for the New York Times reporters were withdrawn. They told the facts about that jet from Qatar. Lies, 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 and more lies coming from the so-called leaders in D.C. Donald Coleman says, wow, Jim, that was deep. Richard Bowden says, Jim is right. Virginia is trying to take my guns. And Carl Sanders says, so what's going to happen if Vance becomes president? Is that the same government or change government? I'll say this real quick, Carl Sanders. And I guess you're talking about in regards to the midterms and whether or not, if the Democrats take over the legislation again, will they launch proceedings to try to remove the sitting president? And if so, that automatically puts next man up with Vance. What I hope they do is, if they take it over, that they will utilize it as a defense to keep him from doing what he's been doing and to undo some of the things he's done. Leave him in office, but now you got him in a fence. You got him boxed in, because Vance is smarter than him. And he's much more calculating than he is. So leave him in office. Now you start going after the Supreme Court justices, and where they went through their confirmations and show patterns in their decisions inconsistent with what they said during their confirmation hearings, and get them gone. So now you can reclaim two branches of our three-pronged government. I'm good.
Okay. D?
I think Jim got his hand up.
Are you ready for us?
Can I get a point in?
Yeah,
I just want.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
To Will's point about the stops, after that Maine incident, ICE actually came out and said, we're not going to do any car stops anymore. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah.
Trump overturned it the very next day. So they even know that this is not a good thing. But the king, overturned that. On the other thing, well, as far as impeachments goes, I'd impeach them all. I'd impeach the president, the vice president, the entire cabinet. They've all committed crimes. You can get something on every single one of these criminals and take out a couple of Supreme Court justices. I'd go hell bent. And, you know, people say, oh, the Democrats are worse than the Republicans. Oh, yeah? Well, fine. If we don't straighten out this country in a way that this can't happen again, it will happen again. And that's the key. The key is to right the ship, yes, but then make sure that it doesn't tilt the other way either. We've got to do everything in our power to make sure that when you try to pull this kind of stunt in America, there will be consequences. And that's all I have to say.
I understand your point. And I understand your point. But here's the thing. What we're seeing is destruction. And destruction moves a lot quicker than construction. Take a look, and I hate to use this reference, but look how quickly the buildings came down at 9/11 versus how long it would take to rebuild those same buildings. So from a strategy standpoint, that's why I say they retake the legislature, they box this guy in. And it's a tactic that we use in law enforcement. If you can control the environment and keep the suspect contained without any further injury to other parties and whatnot, then you let time be on your side, because you go after the justices, you reclaim the legislature, you reclaim the judicial, and then by the time you have the election come around in 2028, you reclaim that now, and in that way you can still conduct business, because if you get enough to override the veto, then you have basically made this limp president truly impotent. Yeah, I cleaned that up.
You know, I agree. If I could just really quickly is just say, everybody should understand that all of Trump's sycophants, you know, J.D. Vance and a whole bunch of them, they don't have what Trump has. They don't have the loyal to the death following he has. They'll eat each other alive when he's out of the picture. They will self-destruct fighting each other. But that's all I got.
Okay. D.
Yeah, I got so we went a little long, so I'm gonna preempt that last video and go to our good guy video. Is that all right? Is everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, now, so you guys don't know, we share information multiple times a day. And this video was shared by someone, and everybody that saw it in the beginning thought it was going to go a whole different way. And it ended up going a really, really good way. Let's take a look.
Police officers in Georgia are being celebrated for going above and beyond to make a little girl's birthday extra special. Body camera video shows the officer surprising her mother with a cake for the girl's first birthday. They first met the woman when she was outside in the cold trying to get home. Our lead national correspondent, David Begnaud, is here. David, what happened next?
Thought y'all needed a little good news this morning.
We do.
A little uplift, right?
Yes, please.
Look, it happened back in January, but we know about it today because the police department just posted it on its Facebook page. Now, the officers didn't tell their supervisors what they did. It was a routine audit of the officer's body camera. That's how a police supervisor came across it, and that's how the officer's kindness was exposed.
How you doing, ma'am? Where are you trying to get to?
Good work.
You want to ride? Come on.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
That is the voice of Sergeant Nick Boney.
I said, today's my daughter's birthday. She turned 1.
Oh, really?
And I want to give her, a cake. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey, come here. I'll give you my credit card. Go get her a birthday cake with a #1 candle.
Let's see if they got any in there.
Officer Jimmy Wilson is the one asked to go find a cake.
She had obviously purchased everything that she could afford. That was just something that a 1-year-old should have a birthday cake.
Your baby just turned 1 today?
Yes.
When they arrived at the house, the lady asked the officer,
You want to see her?
Yeah, actually, we got a little surprise. Awesome. Thank you, Officer Wilson.
No problem.
Oh, wow.
There's her cake.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can we say hi?
Yes.
Hi. How are you? Oh, big hugs. The little girls, when they ran up to give us a hug and stuff, that was just, it was just like it was part of the family. Hi, Tiara. Is this your birthday? Yes. You're so cute. Hi.
The officers stayed and played, and then they sang.
Happy birthday to you.
Yay!
Yay. Got to blow real hard. Great.
That was love that, right? Yeah, you weren't kidding. And you know, it's not the first time Sergeant Boney has been recognized. In 2013, he was named Officer of the Year and later honored with the Medal of Valor for saving the lives of 5 firefighters taken hostage during a medical call. Yeah. So, yeah.
Above and beyond. All right, David, thanks.
I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. When you do a really good job as a police officer, you get invited to the parties.
100%. It's not a secret. It's a fact.
They usually call the police when something go wrong.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get invited to the party.
That's right.
Yeah.
Donald?
Yeah, you're so right, AC. I've eaten plenty of cake.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty of ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Whole lot of barbecues and cookouts.
Yes.
Listen, I left work full.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So listen, I've had a good thing. I tried to treat people as the same way I wanted my family to be treated. Not just how I want to be treated, but my family to be treated. That's how I tried to treat people. So I thank you guys for your participation today. I thank those on Facebook Live. I see you made some comments. We tried to get to them today. I think we got to just about everything. Richard Bowden's last comment was never Vance. Listen, Karen Caffey has a heart, smiley face. So thank you guys so much. I believe that's all that I have. AC, great job as usual. I'm not surprised. You did what I expected you to do. I thank you. To the rest of you, we're praying for you and your family. Anybody with anything else before we close out? All right, AC got us out 2 minutes early. All right.
Power.
Let us pray. Let us pray. God, our Father, we thank you once again for allowing us to come together. We thank you for our listening audience that joins with us each and every week. We thank you for their faithfulness. I thank you, God, for allowing us to be on roll call for over 6 years. Thank you to God for allowing us to have a conversation and dialogue each week, not only just so we can be talking, but we can help out those who live around us and our communities. We pray, God, not only for our communities, but we pray for our police and our law enforcement. Pray to God you will continue to protect us both from each other. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. 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 If it's God's will, we'll see you next week. God bless.
Bless.